What's up, YouTube? Capital G here. So it looks like we have another entry in the series of kind of silly and confusing decisions that Ultra Reality Games has made over the last, should we say, month or so. I mean, they've started kind of acting weird and making like really rash decisions over the last month, and this is just yet another one. So the ARG format, which it was pretty much announced only like 2 weeks ago. I looked up my videos. I think I did a video on July 13th, so 15 days. We're talking exactly 2 weeks essentially, and they're already amending their format, which is crazy because if I'm not mistaken, they've only had one tournament under this format, which was ARG Charlotte, which was not this weekend, but I believe the weekend before. I'm not sure exactly what won. I know that there were a lot of Teller Knights, there were a lot of Burning Abyss, and there were a lot of Necros that kind of made the top 16. So it looks like they're already amending their format, which to me, like, okay, now you're getting to the level of like completely undermining this concept, and you're really starting to discredit yourself. Like, I think you're losing all credibility, which, to be completely honest, you were starting to lose a lot of credibility thanks to Jim, I guess the CEO of the company, with the players, in my opinion. I think that like the players kind of view ARG right now as kind of walking on thin ice, and with them already amending their format, it's like, okay, well, what's going on here? Like, you've only had this format for 2 weeks. If we pick up some of these cards because you've adjusted this list, I mean, who's to say that you don't change it a week later? And first, let's go over it. I guess we'll try and analyze it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they did 7 adjustments, which is, I mean, that's pretty significant. Like that's pretty major. I mean, I don't think, like, the only time I've ever seen Konami do something like this was when they did the emergency list right around what's that set? Phantom Darkness. Yeah, when they did the emergency ban list for Phantom Darkness, they like got rid of DMOC, they got rid of Dimension Fusion. I think they hit Allure Darkness like the 2, a whole bunch of other stuff, but it was kind of that. It was kind of this is kind of, I guess, reminiscent of that. So anyways, effective immediately today, El Shaddai Construct is no longer restricted in the ARG format. The Necros of Unicorn is no longer restricted. Okay. Sharit, Strategist of the Necros, is restricted to 1 because that was unlimited in their format. Those pretty much mimic the Konami list, like, exactly. Those are all things that they can, to me, it looks like they just copy pasted from the Konami list. The Breed Dragon is now semi-restricted. Deep Sea Diva is semi-restricted. Wind Up Magician is no longer restricted, and Wind Up Hunter is now banned. I guess they just want to kill all possibilities of being able to do the Wind Up loot, which I don't really know how many people, like, if Zemmighty is only at 1, who the fuck is even trying the Wind Up loop? Like, to get 1 card out of your opponent's hand, like, that's way too much work to try and get 1 card out of their hand. For those of you who don't remember, because maybe you weren't, or maybe you've never seen like wind ups actually operate at full power, or you just weren't playing back then. The wind up used to be possible with like, if you had 3 wind up carriers and mighties and 3 wind up rats, you used to be able to like loop 3 cards out of your hand. If you hit Pot of Avarice, which was banned, you could end up hitting all 5 cards. Or I think if you opened with like Magician Shark, you could hit 4 cards as well. But if you had average, you'd get all 5. So he goes into the explanations. This was all posted by Jim, and one of the things that, like, one of the issues that I immediately had is this explanation for El Shaddai Construct. It says, with the absence of Shaddais, once again, we felt like we had weakened the deck too far. Okay, so let me get this straight. Because Shadows didn't top 1 tournament, you felt like you immediately had pushed the deck too far into not being playable? What type of fucking sense is that? I mean, like, could you imagine if Konami made like split decisions like that? Like, oh snap, you know what I mean? Like, Ritual Beast had two spots at Nationals. You know what I mean? They were 25% of the top 8. All right, we got to hit Ritual Beast. Like, that's stupid to me. Like, these are just really dumb knee-jerk reactions. Like, I understand that maybe with Konami releasing their list, you want to try and make yours a little more similar, but if that's the case with these, you know, first 3 hits, which were basically copy pasted, why not just either make your list identical or even more, just get rid of your list? Now, I understand, and I'm not going to throw salt at ARG for making their format, making their own ban list, because they kind of probably wanted ARG Charlotte to have some format, and Konami hadn't released the list yet. So it was like they needed something to play under, and they probably thought that if they hosted a major tournament with the same old list that Konami had for the last few months, that, you know, less people would show up, because it was boring, and they kind of needed a spark to get people to show up to the tournament. They only got like 250 people, which isn't really that much. It's kind of like just a regional at that point. But for them to kind of alter their list 2 weeks in based on the events of kind of like a couple of tournaments, and the only major tournament I think was ARG Charlotte. They've had some other smaller tournaments. To me, just seems silly, because it seems like everything is just knee-jerky. So let me know what you guys think about this. I'm starting to, like, I guess I started having like less faith in ARG and their ban list, but now, like, I kind of have no faith in it at all, because I'm at the point where I think if Teller Knights end up, you know, having a really good tournament at the next ARG, and they end up taking like maybe 6 spots in the top, you know, at the top 16, and it's like, oh, well, fuck, we got to hit Teller Knights. Like, all right, well, Deneb's limited to 1, and Alpha Nova's good. Alpha Nova's going to be at 1, 2, and then if Teller Knights, like, don't do anything, they're like, you know what, we went too far on Teller Knights, so let's put Deneb back at 3, put Alpha Nova back at 3, and let's put Rhoda at 2. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let your format actually sink in. Let players actually adjust. You know what I mean? Like, formats don't look the same in the beginning as they look at the end. People adapt, people adjust, new cards see play. You know what I mean? You're not really giving your format time to evolve if you're like messing and tinkering with it every couple of weeks. So anyways, I'm gonna stop rambling. Thank you guys for watching as always.